Welcome to the Deep Dive. We often look into stories that are pretty shocking, sometimes quite heart-wrenching. And today, well, we're navigating a conflict that's really fractured a very prominent family.
And not just the family, right? It's sending ripples through a huge global network.
Exactly. All playing out very, very publicly. I mean, for years, Daystar Television Network, they projected this image, strong, faith-driven family.
Building this massive legacy
Yeah.
in Christian broadcasting, a really impressive setup.
But while everything seems to have suddenly changed, that perfect picture, it's been dramatically upended.
Yeah.
So our mission today really is to understand this ongoing public fight-shaking Daystar, specifically these really personal and professional allegations flying between the president, Joanie Lamb,
And her own son, Jonathan Lamb. It's quite something.
It really is.
And our mission, like you said, it's about trying to untangle these incredibly complex narratives. They often contradict each other based on the reports we've seen. It is. It's a real challenge to figure out the truth when you have family loyalty, immense power, public image, all colliding like this on such a huge stage.
Especially with Daystar. I mean, the reach is global.
Exactly. Global reach and this financial footprint, often described as a billion-dollar empire.
Right.
So the stakes aren't just high, they're monumental. It just amplifies everything, every claim, every denial, every question about integrity.
That's a really crucial point. So what we'll explore today isn't just the what happened, the sort of bare facts.
No.
We're trying to dive into the conflicting whys and hows. How did this family become public adversaries? We're going to sift through the allegations, both sides, look at their different accounts, try to understand the full scope of what some people are calling it, a deep betrayal.
Okay. Let's get into it.
All right, so this whole thing really blew up publicly on November 25th. That's the date.
Okay.
Joanie Lamb, who's the president of Daystar, and Jonathan's mother, she made this public announcement.
Right, I remember seeing that. It was quite direct.
Yeah, very direct. Used social media, revealed Jonathan Lamb's employment terminated.
Just like that out in the open.
Yeah, and her reasons were pointed. She accused Jonathan of being involved in a, quote, smear campaign against the organization.
A smear campaign. Right?
And she didn't stop there. She contended his actions were motivated by dissatisfaction. Basically, that he wasn't chosen to succeed his late father, Marcus Lamb, as Daystar's next president.
So linking it directly to the succession issue.
Directly.
What's really striking there is how meticulously she laid out this sort of corporate disciplinary story.
Yeah, it felt very structured.
She elaborated, said it wasn't sudden. It followed a, get this, 15-month performance review.
15 months, that's a long time.
Right, which then led to him being put on a performance improvement plan, a PIP.
A PIP, okay. Standard corporate stuff sometimes.
Sometimes, yes. It's a standard tool, but, in a family-run business, especially one already in this heated succession battle.
It carries extra weight.
It absolutely can. You could see it as a genuine attempt to fix things or, potentially, as a step towards getting rid of someone.
A formal justification.
Could be. And crucially, Joanie claimed Jonathan refused to participate in the plan. Refused mediation, too.
Even though she offered.
Well, she said she offered to resolve things, quote, in a biblical and professional manner. That was her official line.
Her public explanation.
Exactly.
And that initial statement, it really did set the stage, didn't it? Gave us this clear corporate perspective, Joanie's side.
Clear, but as we know now, only one side.
Right, because very shortly after Joanie went public, Jonathan and his wife, Susie Lamb, they came forward too.
And their allegations were, stunning. And deeply personal.
Completely changed the narrative.
Absolutely. Their central claim, it just shifts the whole emotional center. They allege their young daughter was molested by a family member.
Just horrific.
Horrific. And that this ordeal was, in their words, improperly handled.
And they brought this up amidst the leadership fight.
Yes. They argue it came up amidst it and directly influenced it. It paints this picture where the percussional stuff, the power struggle, and this terrible personal trauma are just completely tangled together.
Jonathan's timeline is also really specific, and he thinks it shows a direct link.
What did he say?
He alleges he was actually fired on November 16th.
Okay, so before the public announcement on the 25th.
Right. And he says November 16th was the day after Daystar was contacted by journalists for comment. That was Friday, November 15th.
Wow. So the implication is...
It's pretty clear from his perspective that his firing was a direct reaction to them deciding to talk to the press about the abuse claims.
That's explosive. And if you connect that to the broader picture they paint, Jonathan and Susie also claim they faced, quote, fierce abuse from Joanie herself while they were at Daystar.
So not just this one incident, but a pattern.
That's what they allege, yes. A long-standing pattern of emotional interpersonal issues, stuff that predated this public fight, but they argue really fueled it. And, this kind of dynamic, it's sadly not unheard of in these big family-controlled organizations. Personal relationships, professional roles, they can get dangerously blurred.
So this brings us right to the core, doesn't it? This direct, unavoidable conflict about the abuse allegations.
Absolutely.
Jonathan explicitly alleges that Joanie, his mother, covered up the sexual abuse of his daughter by a family member. I mean, it's an incredibly serious accusation.
It doesn't get much more serious. And Joanie's denial is just as absolute, unequivocal.
What does she say exactly?
She says there's no truth to that, flat out. She contends they are, quote, nothing but lies concocted by her son who's aiming for her job.
Aiming for her job, wow.
So it creates this deeply troubling deadlock, an absolute denial versus these incredibly grave accusations. It just shows you, doesn't it, how hard it is for anyone on the outside to figure out what's really going on.
Especially when it's so charged.
Exactly. Emotionally charged, family involved.
And Joanie does more than just deny, right? She offers her own timeline, her own counterargument.
She does, provides her perspective. She states her first knowledge of any abuse was in November of 2020.
Okay, November 2020.
And she claims she was actually there to encourage her granddaughter back then. She even says Susie, Jonathan's wife, actually called her to go there.
So she's saying she was involved supportively at the time.
That's her claim. And she describes that 2020 incident not as abuse, but as, quote, a misunderstanding that was resolved 4 years ago.
A misunderstanding. That's quite a description for something so serious.
It's jarring, isn't it, to label it a misunderstanding that was resolved. And then she concludes, claiming Jonathan and Susie only resurrected the issue because they wanted a bigger role at Daystar.
Pushing for more power, basically.
That's her angle. The contrast is just incredibly stark.
Yeah.
One side, a severe cover-up claim, child molestation. The other side, a manipulated, resolved misunderstanding. I mean, as the reports say, clearly someone is lying.